90 more days on pause, folks. China's holding at 10% and bans are postponed. Meanwhile, U.S. imports from China are down 21.7% year over year. Is this smart leverage or just a timeout? Stay tuned to find out what this means for prices in the deficit.
Gary, moving forward, President Trump, of course, makes an appearance. It's about tariffs. It's about China. I'll just get right into it. Thing number 5, Gary, President Trump extends the tariff truce with China. What does that mean? I feel like with a lot of conversations I've been having, actually just met with a couple gentlemen, UK manufacturers, right? And just saying, hey, we just don't even really know what's going on, right? So yeah, help us understand, what does this mean? What's real? What's not?
Yeah, I don't think it actually means anything, and I don't think it surprised anyone. Basically, the president signed an executive order extending the current extending a 90-day pause on tariff increases against China before the previous truce was set to expire. So basically, the rate for China is supposed to be much higher than it is now. He took those tariff hikes off the table for 90 days while they negotiated. And, it's a complicated deal. And that's basically it. It's complicated. It's going to take them more than 3 months to sort out. There are a lot of moving parts, a lot of products, a lot of, questions about it. And so basically all he did was said, okay, we won't raise these, we're out of time. We won't raise these tariff rates on you for another 90 days. Let's keep talking. Let's see if we can sort it out. And basically what it did was froze the current tariff level is right around 50-something%. And it kept the number from going up to 145% with a 125% retaliatory tariff by China. Basically, both sides said, okay, let's not blow up our whole trade relationship. Let's just keep talking for another 3 months. I don't think this surprised anybody. And, I don't think it's really indicative of anything other than the fact that these deals are very difficult and our ties to China run very, very deep.
Yeah, Gary, I know in the written version, right, talking about how closely aligned, we need to be with China. You always talk about decoupling from China, reducing our dependency on China. I mean, is this just another consistent theme of, yes, we need to continue to do that?
Yeah, we absolutely need to. And I know every time I say that, people get upset, and that's okay. Go ahead and get upset, but, make a better point other than, hey, you're an idiot. You don't understand how economics works, because I find that annoying.
Those are the best comments, actually. Those are my favorite ones. You need to start replying to those ones.
Not a chance. No, I'm not engaging with nonsense. But look, let's do the thing that we're telling other people they should do. Let's give reasons, right? First of all, our current trade deficit with China is about $300 billion a year. And somebody might say, okay, well, so what? We're getting all sorts of cheap goods from China and we're printing dollars to do it. Okay, great. But here's the situation. That's $300 billion of stuff we used to produce in the United States. And, it's really easy. Listen, I can manage under this economy, right? I'm a finance guy. I live right outside of New York. My business is not affected by this, but I grew up in the Midwest, right? I spent the first half of my life living in Michigan, and certainly, we're surrounded by people in Ohio and Indiana, and, the amount of industrial sabotage there it's just been unbelievable carnage. And places that used to have jobs and mills and factories and made things have been completely sidelined, and entire towns are dying from fentanyl overdoses. And, you might say, okay, well, hey, learn to code. Well, besides the fact that that's incredibly insensitive, leaving that aside, this is a situation that is completely unsustainable. We spent 40 years selling off our manufacturing capacity. We don't have enough manufacturing capacity to keep selling that off for another 40 years. And yeah, great. We're a leader in financial services. Okay, that works for me. And NVIDIA and our, great tech firms, they're national leaders, they're worldwide leaders, but okay, we need more than that. This is a national security issue. It's an employment issue. It's a self-determination issue. We can't just keep importing everything cheaply from everybody else. It just doesn't work long term. The other thing is, China's been conducting asymmetric warfare against the United States for well over a quarter century. And somebody might say, okay, wait, that's a lot of fancy words. What does that mean? And what it means is they are conducting all kinds of non-military warfare against us. And they're doing this in all kinds of ways. We're going to give you just two examples. And if you want to do the research, I'm sure you can find 20 more. But two examples that we've talked about at great length this year. One, there was the Microsoft hack. That came from China, right? They were hacking into government offices and private corporations. This is a huge issue. But actually, I said I'm going to give you two. I'm going to give you a third. They've been trying to hack all of the utility companies. Every day, these companies get hit with thousands and thousands of attacks, all coming from China, trying to be able to control our grid. That's not for anything good. And then, finally, we talked about people are saying, oh, great. Well, we get these great solar panels from China and this great Green New Deal stuff. Okay, terrific. But they were hiding spyware and malware in the solar inverters. And for those of you who didn't see this version of the 5 things, basically that's the equipment that we use to get power from the solar panel to the grid and allow China to basically damage our grid. So my question for the people who don't like hearing me say we have to decouple from China is, how much cheap crap is worth it to be doing business with somebody who's actively trying to hurt you in all of these ways?
It just absolutely blows my mind. The value proposition and the consumerism, I think, on the U.S. side, right, is what it feeds it. I don't know. Even for me as an advertiser, like I don't buy anything online. And maybe that's where I need to, think about but it just seems to be, it's just some of this stuff. It's like, why do we need that? And then, of course, where's the majority of it coming from? And then, your point, it's right. It's like we just have centralized hubs in the United States, right, where all of our value is coming from now. And what are they doing? It's just easy attacks, right into malware, spyware. And I think that's why you and I have, especially Auth ID. I know I've talked to you. I've looked into some private VPN, security-based companies, right, B2B, etc. Because we've experienced it. We've experienced it as a small, medium-sized business. Legitimate attacks. Just within our portfolio of information that we have and value, etc. So, I think it's something that everybody needs to be aware of, both privately at a personal level, right? Especially high net worth individuals, family offices, right? And then as well as obviously just B2B. And unfortunately, I think it's the small, medium-sized businesses, right? I mean, those are the ones too that they just can absolutely prey upon, and then that just gets them access from one to the next, to the next, to the next, right? It's just a vicious cycle. So we're definitely taking a look on our side too, just in terms of IT infrastructure security, or have somebody that you can call, right? Have somebody that knows what you have going on, so you can be ready and pro.